This is awkward occurrence or awkward entertainment. So I'm going to be getting into the Summer Wells case. And the first piece of information I'm going to look at is from The Sun, the online publication The Sun. So let's give it a few seconds for people to come in and I will start this video. Alright, it has been a few seconds, so let's get into this video. 5-year-old girl who vanished from her family's Tennessee home in June has still not been found. Nearly 5 months later, and the mysterious disappearance of Summer Wells continues. So her full name is Summer Moon Utah Wells, was last seen June 15th. That was this past summer. I'm surprised she's still missing since June. There's been, let's say, no new news. By no new news, she hasn't been found. No body found, nothing since June. June 15th. Been missing since June 15th outside of her family's home in Hawkins County. Summer had been in the front yard planting flowers with her mother and grandmother at the time, her father Donald previously said. So I don't know if she stayed with her mother and her grandmother, but those two parents were around. At some point, I think, well, is that when she was last seen? Planting flowers with her mother and grandmother? That's when she was last seen? Let's continue, because I have not read this. I just pieced it together. At some point around 6:30 p.m., Summer ventured back inside the home on her own because she wanted to go downstairs and play with her toys. Alright, so she was outside planting flowers with mother, grandmother, went back inside. Alright. Wanted to play with toys. Now, one of the parents stated I went down in the basement and she was just gone. So the parent went out of the basement door, which was unlocked, and they haven't seen her since. So she went out the basement door, which was unlocked, and we haven't seen her since. An Amber Alert was issued for Summer the following day after being upgraded from an endangered child alert. So it went from Amber Alert to Endangered Child Alert. A lot of Amber Alerts have to do with parents taking their kids in a lot of cases. If you ever pay attention to those Amber Alerts, it's a disgruntled parent. Kind of funny it went from Endangered Child to Amber Alert. So is she still endangered if it went to Amber Alert? Who knows? But it's been since June. Very few updates on the case have been shared by police since, and investigators have not shared any concrete theories about what may have happened to the young girls. So no theories have been shared by detectives. Donald has previously said that the family believes she was abducted, despite officials saying there is no evidence to support this claim. Well, they put out an Amber Alert, and then they put out an Endangered Child Alert, then they put out an Amber Alert. Now here, officials say there's no evidence to support she was abducted, but you put out an Amber Alert. Why? I guess they can't find any evidence, so they can't come up with any theories of what happened to her. Well, to support an abduction claim, they have no evidence. Abduction claims. She would never leave our hill, he said in late June 1st. Mr. Donald, I think that someone snuck up on her and grabbed her. I don't think she's in that area because the dog goes down to the road and that's the end of the trail. But grandmother plant flowers, went in the house down to the basement. Someone goes down there to check on her. She's no longer in the basement. The basement doors unlock. I guess the basement door leads outside. Let's continue. Now he goes on to say the way that she just disappeared, she would never do that, he added. We know that there are people praying all around the world, praying for her safe return. So many people love her. In a recent interview with WVLT, Donald elaborated further on his theory, insisting someone came through a wooded trail near the family's home and took the girl when nobody was watching. So I guess this wooded trail is nowhere near where Summer was helping her mom and grandmother plant flowers outside. I guess no one heard this stranger come from the wooded trails. What did they go in the basement? Because she went in the house to play with toys, so did they go in the basement? Basement door was unlocked and they took her through the wooded trails. We don't know if someone was waiting in the basement or if she came out the house and went to the swing or possibly back up there to grandma's. We don't know. So we don't know if she came out the house to go to the swing or she back up there to grandma. So the grandmother must live nearby. Is that what that's saying? She must live nearby. All we know is that she went down to the basement. That's the only thing we know, to play with her toys. That's all they know. Let's continue. Even though, like Barry Murphy claimed his wife may have been drugged off by lions. Like, that was his main theory. She may have been drugged off by lions. Now, Barry Murphy has been charged with the murder of his wife. Now, Mr. Donald here claims somebody came from a wooded trail and possibly kidnapped Summer Wells. Like they either waited in the basement, knew the door was unlocked, went around checking doors, or she went outside to the swing and they got her then, or she went to her grandmother's house and they got her then. Let's continue. Donald added that the family's basement door was typically left open or unlocked. The boys a lot of times will leave this door unlocked, wide open, a bunch of times, and we get on them a lot and tell them, you can't do that, but we'd always find it open a bunch of times. We tried to control that, but we couldn't control that 100% of the time, he continued. Donald told the network that from there, he believes Summer was carried down a steep and rugged trail just a few feet away from the house. All right. At the time of her disappearance, Mr. Donald said he was at work. His sons were inside the home. His wife and mother-in-law were outside facing away from the basement door. All right, so the mother-in-law, her grandmother, wasn't at a different house. They were at that house. They were outside planting flowers. Well, I think whoever grabbed her probably had her. Let's continue. Just a reminder. Police say they don't have any evidence to support an abduction theory. No evidence. Well, since June, they have no evidence to support an abduction theory. So they can't even support Mr. Donald's theory that someone came in the house and took her, or Summer Wells went outside and someone took her from a trail. This person came from a trail and took her. But let's continue. She probably had her mouth covered, and I think she was gasping for air by the time she got somewhere down here because our neighbor heard a scream. A really funny scream, and she's been telling us that all along, he said. So she was probably gasping for air. The neighbor heard a funny scream, a really funny scream. So did this abductor walk her down the street, carry her down the street with his mouth over her, with his hand over her mouth, and the neighbor heard a funny scream? Because the only evidence to support an abduction claim would be this neighbor. This neighbor is saying they heard a funny scream. She's been telling us that all along. But police don't think that's enough evidence to support an abduction claim. Mr. Donald himself claimed to be at work. I don't know if that's been verified or not. It's been since June, so it may have been verified. Since he's not in jail for this crime or have anything to do with it, he might as well have been at work. Let's continue. Lured away. The father of four says search dogs previously picked up some scent on a trail but lost it near a road. So you're on a trail, dogs pick up her scent, lost it near a road. That means maybe she was put into a car if you're losing a scent. He said he believes someone put his daughter in a car and drove off. Candus Bly, Summer's mother, appeared to share Donald's theory, telling Fox 8, she feels in my heart that somebody has come up here and took her, has lured her away from her family. When you say lured away, like you have to lure them away with something. What did they lure her away with? Did they say, come here, here's some candy, lured away? Do you want this toy, lured away? Let's continue. Whoever has my daughter, I pray they haven't harmed her. And bring her back to us safe and sound, she pleaded. The Sun needs to update their grammar. The Sun publication, right? Update their grammar. Let's continue. Multiple local law enforcement agencies spent hours searching the trail and surroundings of the Wells family home, but yielded few leads. Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson confirmed last month that dogs had a pretty good trail that tracked for a little while, but then it disappeared near a road. Sometimes K9 will lose the scent when it changes different types, where they maybe went from gravel to the pavement, he explained. Lawson, however, added that Donald's claim that a neighbor heard a scream was unfounded. All right, so Mr. Lawson, the sheriff, says Mr. Donald's claim that a neighbor heard a funny scream is unfounded. So if it's unfounded, that means he lied about it. Doesn't that mean he lied about it if it's unfounded? So this neighbor heard nothing, or the police don't believe the neighbor? Because if the police weren't in the area to hear the scream, they have to take the neighbor for their word, right? So since they're not taking the neighbor for their word, either the scream never happened or the neighbor never said it. So Mr. Donald, let me see. Well, that's partially his photo. Let's continue. That's a partial photo of him. So Mr. Donald theorized this intruder came in the house through the basement, took Summer through a trail. The neighbor heard a scream. He believes this abductor had his hand over Summer's mouth. She tried to scream. That was the funny scream. Mr. Donald makes up a story that can't be verified. When it comes to that screaming part and the abductor holding her, that's unfounded. But when it comes to her sentence on a trail and her body was put into a car, well, there's some evidence to support that. Let's continue. That's just very strange, but let's continue. Summer hair was cut off shortly before she disappeared. Now, why was this girl hair cut off? Let's get into this. Oh my gosh. I don't think she has cancer for her hair to be cut off. Maybe the parents donated the hair. I don't know the mental state of these parents to cut their daughter hair off. Maybe she wanted her hair cut off. Was she thinking about becoming a boy? Was she thinking about a gender change? I'm talking about Summer Wells. Was she thinking about a gender change? All right, here goes Mr. Donald. Here goes Summer Wells. Here goes her mother. And here goes an odd picture of their son in a, what do we call this? I was going to say a toupee. Let's just say in a little girl's outfit, a ballerina outfit. This is very strange when I saw it. I just thought this was very strange. Now, this is from the Sun publication. I don't know why they would post this photo of this little boy in this ballerina's outfit. This is very odd. It is very odd. So the young boy is wearing girl clothing. The young girl has her hair cut off as if she's a boy. Were they sending these kids through some type of gender transformation? Did these kids want to be the opposite sex? Did somebody feel that it's best to take Summer away because the parents were neglectful? But there's no evidence to support an adoption theory besides her scent on a trail. Then police should be losing the scent. They say they can lose the scent because it's pavement. It switched from dirt to pavement. It don't necessarily mean that there was a car that took Summer or she was put in a car. Just the foundation she was walking on, you can lose her scent. Now let's continue. This is very odd. Very odd. What they say about hair cut off. Shortly before Summer's disappearance, her previously chin-length blonde hair was buzzed down to a close crop. A close crop like army people get or officers get at the academy. In the hours after she vanished, some officers, in the hours after she vanished, police shared pictures of her with long hair, describing her as 3 feet tall, weighing 40 pounds, and with blue eyes. Then, in a later alert, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation tweeted, "Missing 5-year-old Summer Wells may now have shorter hair than pictured in our earlier alerts. Here are new images we've just obtained that may be a representative of her current hair length." Summer parents have never said how soon before her disappearance was her hair cut off. Did they ask why they cut her hair? The only reason you cut her hair if it's damaged, lice, even you can find products that clear lice out. Did she get glue? Not glue. Did she get gum stuck in her hair, or did she want to be a boy? Which one? Did they sell her hair? Which one is it? Let's continue. A disappearing haircut. A family photos show that her 3 brothers all have short cropped hair. Family photos show all her 3 brothers have short cropped hair. And that makes me think she wanted to be a boy, or they wanted her to be a boy. Let's continue. Summer's brothers removed from home. Summer's 3 young brothers were removed from the Wells family home 6 weeks after her disappearance. June, July, so in August. It came after Donald claimed that his house was a dangerous place. Mr. Donald himself claimed that his house was a dangerous place to be amid a slew of threats being made against him and Candus, which turn reportedly drove him to start drinking heavily. Right now, with everybody attacking us and all this stuff going on, it's probably better for them, Wells said on a podcast. Do we want to discuss this? So, when did people in the public learn about Summer Wells being missing? When did people start making videos and learn about this? Did they learn about this back in June? But he claims because he got a slew of threats on Facebook or wherever from people, he had the boys removed from the house for their safety. Now, if people were threatening him because they think he did something to his daughter, they wouldn't harm the boys. He stated he started drinking more. If you know, most alcoholics, when they drink, they have a dangerous mindset. Let's say dangerous mindset. Some people can't drink alcohol and be normal. That's what I'm saying. Some people can't. She was drove him to start drinking heavily. So he started drinking heavily. Heavy drinkers can't really support their family. They really can't be an emotional. They can't be an emotional. I'm gonna say stool. Like you can't come to a parent who's a heavy drinker and expect them to be a parent. You know, you can't expect them to be a parent. Let's continue. I gotta think about that some more. Let's continue. But that states the kids were removed at his request. Not because he did anything wrong, but at his request. Donald also reportedly his daughter. A lot of people would be neighbors, friends, probably co-workers. I believe that stuff. Wells said, like an idiot. I believed it and I flipped out, started drinking and everything else. And that's why they took our kids. That's why they took our kids. Okay, so let me go back. Previously, it sounded like he wanted the kids out the house for their safety. But right here, he said, and that's why they took our kids. I believe that stuff Wells said, the stuff people were saying, like an idiot. I believed it and I flipped out, started drinking and everything else. And that's why they took our kids. Why would you believe lies? If you know they're lies, why would you believe them and start drinking and flip out? Then the state come take your 3 boys. Like, I'm trying to make sense of this. Let's continue. The podcast host Jennifer Youngblood told local media that he admitted that the boys being taken was due to him having an episode of drinking, and there are other things swirling around the internet that it could be the home life or what's going on right now in Summer's case. Donna also said that the family had caught a number of people trespassing on their property, including a woman who claimed to be a psychic. That was the funny part I saw earlier. A woman claiming to be a psychic was trespassing. Like, why would she need to trespass if she's a psychic? So these so-called psychics, they're supposed to know everything. They're supposed to talk to their demons, their demon spirits. You can't talk to the dead. I've said this many times. You can't talk to the dead are sleeping. So these psychics, they're talking to these demon spirits. These demon spirits don't tell them the truth. But if you're a psychic, you don't need to trespass. Let's continue. So his boys was taken because he became a heavy drinker. He probably was a heavy drinker before that. He believed the stuff people would tell him about he's involved with his daughter being missing, or people would come up to him and say foul things like, you did this to your daughter, you did that to your daughter. He cut his daughter's hair down to the size of his young boy's hair. He has his son dressing in this, I still don't know the name of this ballerina outfit. He has his son dressing in things like this. Don't know when that picture was taken. Alcoholic father. Mind not right. Abusive. So he was abusive is what I'm thinking while they took these kids. But let's continue. Just no. I don't see why people would be trespassing, though. How does a psychic even know where he lives, yo? How does people know where they live? Like, come on. Anyway, let's continue. We don't need her crazy butt stopping by our house, says Donald. He's talking about the psychic. She claims to be a Christian. You can't be a psychic, claim to be a Christian. I'm not. Now, are police in this case saying don't blame the parents? Don't blame the parents. I don't think this case had any fire back in June. But like any fire, this case is just picking up more heat in the media this past month, the past 3 or 4 weeks. This case is just picking up steam. So it wasn't many people watching this case back in June, I don't believe. Not like I was paying attention. But let's continue. What was the last part? He talked about the psychic. He talked about being Christian. A lot of tests. Donald, meanwhile, claims to have successfully completed a polygraph test on June 17th. He told local media that both he and Candus had been asked to do a test sooner, but the pair were reportedly too emotional to go through with it. Sometimes emotions will cause a lot of tests to make it seem like you're lying, a false positive. Let's just put it that way. If you're too emotional, if your heartbeat is beating too fast, they ask you a question, you know you're telling the truth, but it will come out as you're lying. But let's just continue this. Too emotional. Again, has the police said, don't blame the parents. Or the parents have been harassed on social media. You know how the police are in these nationally staged cases. Just like Cleo Smith was found alive. Miss Cleo Smith was found alive at an abducted house 7 minutes away from her own house. And beforehand, police like, oh, don't blame the parents. People online are so mean. So things like that will let you know where the case is going. If the police aren't saying don't blame the parents, if the police aren't saying social media is being rough on the parents, social media is posting on the parents' Facebooks, this mean stuff, that mean, this accusation. If they're not saying that, more than likely the parents have something to do with the disappearance of the kid. Donald, meanwhile, claims to have, I read that part, the local media, I read that part. They say they both passed. I have to look up if that's verified that they both passed. She was last seen planting flowers outside. At first, I didn't get any sleep for 2 days. I couldn't sleep for 2 days. It was the worst misery and pain I've ever felt in my life, Mr. Donald claimed. I wasn't able to take a lot of tests. They made me wait a little bit, but when I did take it, I passed. They made Candus wait 5 days longer to take hers. So they both passed. This is from the district attorney's office. They both passed a lot of tests, even though they had to wait 5 days. He waited maybe 3 days. Even though, if you're good at lying and controlling your emotions and controlling your heartbeat, if you're good at controlling your thoughts, you can pass a lot of tests. Machines can be manipulated. Let's continue. They made Candus wait 5 days longer to take her test. She just wasn't able to. She tried and she wasn't able to. People are saying we failed. We took another test. That's not the case. So when we take them, we both passed, he added. When asked if his theory about what happened to Summer had changed, Donald said, no, she's been abducted in my mind 100%. I know Candus wouldn't lie to me about any of the facts. She has no reason to. She wouldn't lie. So far, back in June, before this case didn't take off in June or July. This case is just now getting more attention in October, November. They took a lot of tests. They claim they passed. The father claims people walked up to him, told him he's involved in his daughter's disappearance. He went into a drinking bench. He had his kids taken away from him because they had their kids taken away that were left, the three boys, because they were neglecting the kids. That's the only way you can have your kids taken away is you're neglecting the kids. He became a heavy drunk. So is he involved in his daughter's disappearance? The fact that they passed lie detector tests, and the fact that he claims people came up to him accusing him of being involved, makes it seem like they're not involved in their daughter's disappearance. But let's continue. Let's just continue. He keeps talking about the mom. He says he doesn't believe the mom has something to do with their daughter's disappearance. I know Candus wouldn't lie to me about any other facts, said Donald. I'm 100% sure I know Candus wouldn't lie to me about any other facts. I'm 100% sure. She has no reason to, and she wouldn't lie. I don't know why she would lie. At the beginning, they stated Summer Wells was outside with her grandmother and her mother Candus planting flowers. Then Summer went inside to the basement to play with toys. After that, she went missing. Mr. Donald theorized an intruder came in the house, took her out the basement door. A neighbor heard her yelling, screaming in a funny way. Police can't verify. Police don't believe Summer Wells was yelling. They can't verify that with the neighbor. That's the way this article is written. Let's continue. She's probably dead. Around 3 weeks later in July, Donald offered the grim prediction that Summer is probably no longer alive. Well, statistically speaking, there's a good chance. Well, Cleo Smith was found after 16 days. That's not 3 weeks, but it's 16 days in that story. Let's continue. Statistically speaking, there's a good chance she's probably dead. Let me read the comments right quick. You need to watch Huff Paranormal. Okay, Stingray is talking about Huff Paranormal. I'm like, I don't watch paranormal channels. Blessed Bee said, "Looks what's happening." Okay, Stingray. I don't think Stingray is no longer in the room, so let me continue this video. Stingray is no longer in the room. Okay, all spirits are demons except the Holy Spirit. Let's continue. There's no talking to the dead or sleep. Let's continue. She's probably dead. Alright. Statistically speaking, Donald said there's a good chance she's already dead. Donald told the Kingsport Time News, "I hate to think that," he said, "I love her with all my heart. If nothing else," he continued, "I'll see her in the resurrection." You'll see her in the resurrection. Let's see. You will see her. The resurrection would be when Jesus Christ comes. He comes for the bride of the church. He takes the bride of the church up to heaven. And he leaves the sinners, the ones not in Christ, the ones who don't believe in Christ down here on earth to deal with the Antichrist. Then he's going to come back, Armageddon, defeat the demons, defeat the Antichrist, defeat Lucifer. That's a whole nother podcast. Let's continue. As long as I keep the commandments and do what I'm supposed to do, I'll see her, he said. But he would be somewhat right. The commandments are law, but he would be somewhat right. Donald added that he would do anything to have his baby girl back and said he's putting his faith in God to turn this around. Okay, do we want to talk about this part? He's putting his faith into God to turn this around. God gave everybody free will. This is why people murder, steal. So on and so on. So I can't say I agree with that statement. He puts faith in God to turn this around. Whoever has her has to come forth and said, I took her, or come forth and said, I killed her. She's buried here. Let's continue. I made up my mind to not let Satan win. He said, I've still got to move forward. I've still got to go to work. I've still got to try, even though I miss her. Let's continue. How much more is left in this? How much more is left in this? I made up my mind. During the July interview, he also insisted that he wouldn't allow his daughter's disappearance to drive him back to drinking. Well, he did allow her disappearance to drive him back to drinking. That's why his boys was taken. I'm not going to let Satan convince me to go drinking, he said in a phone interview with the local newspaper. I'm not going down that road. I choose life. I choose God. Let's continue. Donald Wells arrested for a DUI. But on Saturday night, Donald was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence near his home in Hawkins County. He is facing multiple other charges, including open container, a violation of financial responsibilities, whatever that means. Whatever that means. Which may have stemmed from him driving without insurance. Let me skim over this. Paper president of the car charges. Donald was also charged with improper land uses under state law. Vehicles must be driven. He was initially held on a $5,700 bond. No other details regarding this has been. I'm trying to skim through this. Custody gag order. Following Donald's arrest on Monday, a judge issued a gag order on a Child Protective Services case involving his and Candus' sons. All parties are prohibited from discussing the case in the matter of the children. But he's going on Dr. Phil, so I guess on Dr. Phil he's not going to discuss why his kids were taken away. Let me continue. According to the warrant filed in According to the warrant filed in General Sessions Court in Hawkins County on October 15, 2020, last month, Candus called police to report a domestic assault by her husband. Her husband was who was a drunk. Same husband who helped get the kids taken away. Same husband who says, well, Summer Wells, he claims he was at work, but same husband who theorized Summer Wells was abducted, taken on a trail, and thrown into a car. That led to Candus to file for an order of protection against her husband, writing, I'm afraid for my children and myself. Well, this story took a strange twist, right? This is a strange twist. So their young daughter goes missing. They do lie detector tests. Back in June, they did a lie detector test with the district attorney. They passed their test. After that, Mr. Donald goes into a downward spiral. He starts drinking more. His kids, his young son, is pictured in female clothing. His daughter is pictured with no hair, as if she's a boy. The kids get taken away. He's accused of having something to do with his daughter's disappearance. Again, his kids get taken away. He's neglectful. He's a neglectful parent. October 15th, she filed a police report of domestic assault by her husband. She also filed for an order of protection against him, writing, I'm afraid for my children and myself. Now, that makes it seem like he could have something to do with his daughter's disappearance. But again, Mr. Donald stated he was at work that day. I'm pretty sure it's verified he was at work. But let's see how this story plays out. Later, she asked for the order to be dismissed. I don't know why. And the charges against Donald was dropped on April 21st, 2 months before Summer's disappearance. Oh my God, okay. So October 15, 2020, not 2021, my bad. I thought it was 2021. So 2020, a year before Summer goes missing, almost a year, she files a protection order. She files a report saying he's abusive. All right. April 21st, she asked for this to be dropped. That'd be 2021 in April. She asked for the order to be dropped. 2 months before Summer's disappearance. State investigators have received, let me skim over this, 1,000 tips. They received 1,000 tips. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? No, let's just restart this video. Alright. So, this is the first I'm diving into this case. It's from, the first I'm diving into this case is reading updates from the Sun publication. So this is the first I'm hearing of this case. So back in 2020 October, a police report was filed against Mr. Donald Hill for abusing his wife. She also took out a protection order. Maybe March, April, 5, 6, 7 months later in April 2021, she asked for charges to be dismissed, protection order to be lifted. A few months later, during the summer in June, their daughter goes missing. Before the daughter goes missing, this couple decided to cut their daughter's hair down to the skull. After that, the sons get taken away. What was it, August 2021? The sons are taken away. Okay, there's just a history of violence here. There's a history of violence here reported by the wife. She feared for her kids' safety. That makes me think he's been a drunk for a very long time. He's abused these kids physically for a while. That's what it makes me think. Before the kids were taken away, Mr. Donald claims to be a Christian parent, but he had his son in this. What is this called? What is this outfit called you put on your young daughters? In this ballerina skirt. He had his son in this. This could be one of the reasons his kids were taken away, besides his drinking and accusations that he has something to do with his daughter's disappearance. This is just perversion. This is perversion. This is sexual perversion. This is gender perversion. This is what this is. This is what this is. Any other thoughts? No, you know I'm going to make more videos about this. This is Mr. Donald leaving the courthouse. Where the other video at? One more video. I'm about to end this out in a second. Alright, they have a gag order. They can't talk about why the kids were taken away, but they're going to be on Dr. Phil. The show has already been recorded. It will be released next week.
Will air the episode featuring the parents of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells.
That episode is set to air next week, November 11th and 12th. Both Don Wells.
At least when it will air the episode featuring the parents of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells.
That episode is set to air next week, November 11th and 12th. Both Don Wells and Candus Bly speak with a popular talk show host on their daughter's disappearance. Family members say Summer was last seen June 15th at her Hawkins County home. A Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Amber Alert remains active.
Hold on.
At least when it will air the episode featuring the parents of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells.
I'm trying to see her last name. What is her last name? Summer Well Moon? Anyway, on this show, they cannot talk about why their kids were taken away. Anything else? November 11th through the 17th is the dates we're getting. Anything else? Will Summer Wells be found in November? It took so long for Dr. Phil to want to interview this couple. It took so long. I'm surprised it took this long for this case to pick up some steam. Will Summer Wells be found after the doctor? She won't be found before the Dr. Phil interview. I'm letting y'all know that she won't be found before next week. It's going to be after this interview is aired. This is how these things work. I'm just letting you know. I would be amazed if her body is found in a grave in the backyard or something before this show is aired. I would be amazed if the grandmother comes out and says, I had Summer the whole time. Someone speculated on YouTube Summer Wells' grandmother took her from the house. But the grandmother was there all along when Summer Wells went missing. So unless the grandmother told Summer, go downstairs to the basement, go out the back door and go to my house, I don't even know where the grandmother lives. I don't. That's just a speculation I saw on YouTube. Let me read his comments. Summer Moon Utah Wells. Yes, Summer Moon. Summer Moon Utah Wells. Moon Utah. She has a very odd name. A very odd name. That is from Blessed Bee. Okay, any comments anybody want to make before I end this out? I just have to give this case more thought. Look through more articles. Give it some more thought. So it went from an endangered child alert to an Amber Alert. And like I stated before, most of the time Amber Alerts come in when a child is abducted by a disgruntled parent. So let's say there's a divorced couple. The father is not being able to see his daughter or son. The father will go over to the mother's house and forcefully, by force, take his son to see his son. The mom will call it in. It would be an Amber Alert. The mom has the license plate number, the color of the car. A lot of cases is family disagreements when it comes to Amber Alerts. What's the difference between an endangered child alert and an Amber Alert? Why would they change it from an endangered child alert to an Amber Alert? Is there a difference in priority, how they prioritize the case? Do they not believe she's endangered, just that she's missing? I'm trying to think about this. Prepare yourself. Blessed Bee says prepare yourself. Well, that's nothing to. They need to prepare themselves. You think it's going to be some real crazy stuff in this case? The only way this can end is Mr. Donald himself somehow left work, killed his daughter and buried his daughter. Mr. Donald is an abusive parent by his own wife. His own wife's testimony, he's abusive. She feared for her kids' safety back in 2020. Okay, prepare myself when I go through the other articles. Okay. I know. Like I was saying, either he killed his daughter, he somehow sold his daughter to a doctor, sold his daughter to somebody. I don't know. One final thing. Let me think. One final thing before I wrap this up. Let me reiterate. Let's reiterate. They passed lie detector tests. The mom and father passed lie detector tests. All right. I don't know what else to think. All right. I'm in any other comments. All I know, they passed lie detector tests. They may not be involved. Any other comments? It's what's in between that gets bad. What's in between? It's what's in between that gets bad, says Blessed Bee. I don't know. Like, throw me a hint. What do you mean that's what's in between? Because she went missing from the home. The parents was there, or the only parents that was there was the mom and the grandmother. You have an abusive dad here. An alcoholic dad. He dresses his kids in inappropriate manners. But he passed a lot of detector tests. Okay, I'll go look myself. I'm not trying to keep everyone. I'm not trying to keep what the kids were put through. All right, I'm gonna look into what the kids were put through. I'm gonna look into it. All right. I mean, he could have put the kids through some crazy stuff, but does that mean he's responsible for his daughter going missing? I'm trying to think. He's responsible for his daughter's going missing. Police have no evidence that there was an abductor. Police, again, have no evidence that there was an abductor. Even though they picked up Summer Wells' scent on a trail and they lost that scent once they hit pavement, they again have no evidence that it was an abductor. That makes you think this is in-house. This has something to do with the parents or family members. In the Cleo Smith case, police ruled out the parents in the Cleo Smith case. They immediately went to it was an abductor. I know they were on a beach, but they immediately went to it was an abductor. They said, we're knocking on doors. We believe she's in this town. We're knocking on doors. It turns out they knocked on the right door. Well, they didn't knock. They broke down the dude's door. I guess they threw him against a wall. They went into a room. They asked the kid what the kid name was. She says, I'm Cleo. Like, really? They got a tip from some neighbors or something about a guy acting strange, I guess. They went to his house. I guess he wouldn't answer the door. They broke it down. We'll see tomorrow. We will see tomorrow how they found Cleo Smith. Like, all right. Anything else? Yes, Cleo Smith was found 7 minutes away from her house. 7 minutes away from her house. 1 hour away from the blowhole campsite. So the abducted theory came out to be true. But there's no abducted theory in this case by police, just by the father, which makes you think the father is the abductor, or he knows the abductor, or he knows what happened. All right, I'm going to end this out. I'm not going to stay too long. Any other comments? I know I've been saying I'm going to end this out. I'm not going to stay too long, but I've been saying that for the past 5 minutes. I'm still here thinking about this case. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. It's crazy. Just crazy. All right. This has been Awkward Occurrence for Awkward Entertainment, and I will see you in the next video. It's very possible the father has something to do with it, and just the father or the mother, but just the father.